Hello, and welcome to Cousin Chat, where we talk about what matters. I'm your host, Donna Pazant, and today I am so glad to be kicking off Autism Awareness Month with one of my sorors. She is a board-certified behavior analyst, Stephanie Trusty. Stephanie, say hello to the people.
Hey.
I'm so glad you could join me today. Listen, when I found out that you were, I won't say an expert because then you'll feel like you have to live up to something, but when I found out that you were knowledgeable, is that fair? Can I say that?
Yes, I'll take that.
When I found out that you were knowledgeable about autism and some of the ins and outs of it and what we can look for and indicators and all that, I was so excited. So I was like, okay, I have to get her on here with me. But one thing I've always been curious about, because I have, I'm a teacher, I have worked with students who have autism. But one of the things I've always wondered is what happens not just after they leave me, because the students I worked with who had autism were in elementary school, like middle school. And I have some now who are on the spectrum. I'm in high school. But sometimes I wonder, the ones who leave and, go on to become adults, but who are nonverbal, how do they function? See, Stephanie works with adults, and I've never actually conversed with someone who works with adults who have autism. And I've just always, or are on the spectrum, I need to be correct. I don't want, and listen, please, if I say something that is politically incorrect regarding autism or labels or anything like that during this episode, please let me know, because people have a tendency to want to cancel and, shout people out.
We ain't trying to get canceled.
Absolutely not. And I want to be respectful, but seriously, if I say something that is wrong, in terms of my vocabulary, when I'm talking about people on the spectrum, let me know and get me right. Okay. But I really wanted to know, what are they able to function and get jobs and into the workforce? Like, how does that happen? Because I know some people on the spectrum are nonverbal. So if they're nonverbal as adults, how does that work? In your experience, what have you seen?
Yeah. So my hope is that they had, the best education from childhood and growing up to adulthood. And with me saying that, more so along the lines is, as a board certified behavior analyst, I know that ABA is very important. So again, ABA, applied behavior analysis, right? Okay. I feel like I gotta catch up. I gotta, have your audience knowledgeable in the terms that I'm sharing at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I believe applied behavior analysis is really important, especially from early childhood into adulthood. But the question related to those that are nonverbal, having a functional communication device, I feel like is so important. There are different programs that are out there that will allow us to teach children and teenagers and adults to learn how to communicate with neurotypical people that don't understand them. Being nonverbal is different than being non-vocal. So being non-vocal, in a sense, is that they don't have the skills to have language come out verbally, right, or vocally, but they have verbal skills, so they can point to something. Some of them have learned sign language and be able to have the opportunity to sign what they need. There's other communication systems of pet boards that are out there that they're able to identify and tell someone that maybe I need to use the bathroom, or I'm hungry, or I need a break. So things like that. But I feel like communication systems are so important. We are in the field of, or we're in the world, I should say, with a lot of technology, and we have electronics and technology glued to our hands all the time, that with our phones, there's apps that are out there that have the opportunity to give our children and our teenagers and adults on the spectrum the opportunity to be able to communicate. So I feel like, if anything, us as educators and professionals and even caregivers and parents, I will elaborate this all the time, is to do research. There's so many apps and devices that are out there that have the concept to help your loved one who's diagnosed with autism have the opportunity to communicate. Yeah.
Okay, so I heard you mentioned, thank you, that was great, but I heard you mention parents. So I know that when children are in school, their parents are often very active, advocating for them to make sure they get the services that they need. When they become adults, in your experience, are you still heavily involved with parents, regarding the care for the autistic adult?
Yes, definitely. So it's interesting. I don't want to say it incorrect, but for neurotypical, any person, any individual in the States, right, in the United States, once you're 18, you are now an adult, right? No matter what diagnosis you have, what disability you have, you are an adult. So it's important for parents to go to court and gain guardianship. So overall, we believe choice is very important. So yes, you're adult now, right? 18 and over, 21 and over, have the choice to say no. But overall, we know that most of the time, they will need someone to attain guardianship to help them along the way to progress in life after adulthood, because you're not in school anymore. You don't have the teacher's support. And unfortunately, sometimes many of them may go into group homes or into different type of homes, depending on their behavior or the challenges that they have. Sometimes, parents get older. We all get older, right? So if your child is getting older, the parents are now getting older. So parents need to start planning ahead. So when I meet parents who have children that are diagnosed with spectrum, it's like we sometimes have to have those heavy conversations. Like, you need to think about life when you're not here. But there's different resources out there. One that I'm familiar with is Plan New Jersey. I communicate with someone there for one of my clients. So it's important to have that in place, talk to a lawyer. Even with neurotypical children, they say, to have a will in place, trust in place, but to be able to also trust someone with your adult child that's diagnosed with autism or multiple, to try to gain guardianship so you can continue to advocate for their needs while you're still here.
That is so amazing. I'm so glad you were able to join me for this chat today, because I just always wondered, my students that were, say, really good in one particular area, like I had a young lady who was an artist. She was amazing. That was the thing that she was like really, really good at, but she didn't like working in groups. But I always wondered, when she got older, how did she function? How did she make out? Because, when you're in the world, you have to work with people, and so I just always wondered, but it's good to know that she probably encountered someone like you and people like you. And I'm so glad that your profession exists, because it's very much needed,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what could you say to encourage someone? Okay, so we always leave you with something to think about here. And so my takeaway for today would just be, if you are interested, or if you're curious about autism and what it means to have autism or be on the spectrum, do some research. Even if you're not an educator or a parent who has a child with autism, just for your own knowledge. You never know when you may come in contact with someone who is on the spectrum or who has autism. And it does not hurt to just be a little bit more educated on the subject. And so that would be my takeaway. Kind of educate yourself a little bit on the topic, regardless of who is currently in your life, because you never know who you might come across and you never know who you might be able to help. So what would be your takeaway for today?
My takeaway is probably going to piggyback off yours. Like, research is just really important, and being able to connect and collaborate with other professionals is highly important. All BCBAs don't know everything. All doctors don't know everything. You know, all lawyers don't know everything. And those that are in those type of professions are still learning. The world is always revolving and always changing. There's a statistic that happened in 2020 could be different in 2022. There's just always research and new science, evidence-based information that's out there that's just ongoing. So reading is very important, and connecting with those that have experience and competence in those areas are important as well. So that would be my takeaway.
Well, this was so informative. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow Cousin Chat, and I hope you do, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube. I have some very good interviews there. Well, this one will be there as well. Probably there right now. That's probably where you're watching it. But anyway, you can also go to my website. It's CUZNCHAT.com. That's cousinchat.com. And if you click around, you'll see some of the other episodes that I've done. And there are also some video interviews there as well. Click around and find something. You will find something that interests you, I promise. And also you can leave messages from me. Click around. You can see who I am, find out a little bit more about me and how Cousin Chat got started in the first place. But yes, please, and while you're there, you could subscribe. But for now, you could, like I said, follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until we come back to the next Cousin Chat, think about all of that. Thank you again, Stephanie, for joining me.
Yes, no, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you. You'll be back.
All right.
Bless everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.